The Greek four will race the British national squad crew from Leander and University of London.
And Martin, you can see the Greek four on that practice start, as often happens with foreign crews. You hear the go and you're so trained,
they do speak good English, and I had a nice chat with Ioannis Christou. He's the man closest to you, the stroke man of the Greek four. And it was the British who got the better of the Greeks at the European Championships some 5 weeks ago, but Ioannis Christou, well, he's closest to you. It's his first race at the regatta this year. The Greeks were here in 2011, where they did very well in this event. And the British, they have come over towards the Greeks, and straight away there's a warning, and you can see the steering going on. I wonder if that's Alan Sinclair in the bow seat. I think that's a mistake rather than anything, because it'll lose them time, Sarah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you look at that picture from behind, you can see how strong that crosswind is, and I suspect it is pushing the boats on the nearest to us on the screen over a little bit. You can see the white flags, they're being blown over from that side.
Do you think that's just poor steering, though? I mean, they should know the wind's coming out, and Alan Sinclair is like, I'll just have my rudder a little bit on, but instead he had to whack it on, handbrake turn, and that will have cost his crew 2 or 3 feet. But it's the British national squad crew rowing here as Leander Club and University of London Club in a half-a-length lead from the Greek crew rowing on the day of their country's national referendum to decide their future. In the stroke of the British four, Nathaniel Riley O'Donnell, known as Noddy to his friends, very active on social media, great ambassador for the sport, has his own column in Rowing and Regatta magazine. He is up against head-to-head Ioannis Christou, the stroke of the Greek national crew. And they finished 4th in the Olympics in 2012. The silver medalists in the European Championships. They are a quality crew, Sarah, coached, of course, by that Italian Gianni Postiglione.
Yeah, absolutely, and Gianni has been in there in that system and created such strength in the Greek boat. And they've such terrible problems at the country, and it's great to see that sport can still survive in those in that climate. We saw Ukraine beat our quad in the World Championships last year at a time where terrible things are happening in that country, and I think it can bring sport, can bring people together at times of times of need.
So we've got a race on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. The heavier men from the British squad crew, Nathaniel Riley O'Donnell with his distinctive University of London purple singlet on. He is leading his crew against the Greeks. I think the British crew in the yellow boat on the left of your screen have a slight lead. There is the Greek strokeman, Ioannis Christou, furthest away from him in the bows, Yannis Silis. And when I spoke to him about the referendum, he said, I would vote no. He would vote no for an end to austerity. He would not accept the financial package being offered. And he said, we are really crying out and struggling in Greek rowing. We want to go and race at the Lucerne Regatta in a week's time, but we have no money. This is all we can afford. So the British, and you heard the umpire speak again there, Sarah, they are trying to send puddles down. And the bowman of the British crew, Alan Sinclair, is, well, is that gamesmanship or is that being nasty?
Well, I think this is really interesting. You have to remember now that our athletes, our British athletes, spend a lot of their time on a 6-lane buoyed course. They do their training at Caversham. They go and race at international regattas, which are all buoyed out for them. And that watermanship of being on top of where your boat is really, really important. And when you come to these river regattas, of which possibly the most famous in the world is Henley Royal Regatta here, they've got booms to help them. It's not a make your own course up, but look at it. We're seeing problems all over the place.
So once more, it's the British crew have been warned for their steering against their opponents. The British national squad crew on the left, steered by the man on the left of your screen at the end of that boat, in the bows of the British boat, Alan Sinclair. Yeah. He is responsible for the course. He's out of shot just behind the bulk of Scott Durrant, the Oxford Brookes oarsman. And then with the white cap, it's the Olympic bronze medalist Tom Ransley. And they have a 1-length lead coming into Upper Thames and Remenham Club, where they will get a roar from the crowd. But this race is not done and dusted yet.
No, absolutely. And maybe we should explain, as we are talking so much about the steering, Martin, how it does work in these boats. we talk about the steers man with Alan Sinclair, but what actually he does is he has a rudder attached to his foot, or a string attached to his foot. As he twitches his foot, it moves the rudder, and that will move the boat. And the rudder sits underneath the boat in the stern, the bit that's closest to us as we look at the pictures from behind, and that moves the boat. And you know, it's his job to keep the boat straight, as well as to row in time, as well as to possibly call where they are in the race. Busy man.
So it's the Greek national crew on the left of your picture. They rowed beautifully. They are a lighter crew than the British, 14 stone 8 average against 15 stone 12, yet their coach Gianni Postiglione is famed for how a crew should feel the boat. He bemoans all the strong physical training. He says it tires the nerves and my rowers can't feel what they're doing. He always likes his crew to row beautifully, as does Christian Felkel, who coaches this British crew, but they are having to fight all the way down from the Greeks as the British take a clear water lead coming into the regatta enclosure.
Yeah, you can see the power in the British athletes. They are a powerful crew, these four. We've seen them race well in the European Championships. They won't be happy with their result in the last World Cup. My belief, they came fifth. You know, this is part of their trip through to the next World Cup, and then of course Egg-Billet and qualification. But today it's all about Henley Royal Regatta, and we see again a British crew being warned, Martin, getting back onto their station.
Yeah, George Cialis was looking across there, and Alan Sinclair is moving out. I mean, I think the British feel they come to Henley, and that's all part of the game. And it is the advantage being on that right-hand station. You can steer straight down the booms, but we've seen British squad crews play it nasty. I wonder how that'll play out between Martin Sauer and Phelan Hill in the men's aids. There's no love lost between those two coxes. We see that at 3 o'clock this afternoon. But here are the four men from the British squad: Nathaniel Riley O'Donnell, Tom Ransley, Scott Durant and Alan Sinclair, on their way to a victory in the Stewards Challenge Cup. They come up to the line. It's a hard-fought victory from Greece. There's a yes. I think that is Scott Durant, and the Greeks on such an important day for their country. Tom Ransley congratulates Noddy, Nathaniel Riley O'Donnell, University of London, here with a new boat which has been presented to them by their crew of 1975, the benefactors.